So, this is my segment for today. What I wanted to bring up to you guys was your thoughts of how the new LA Chargers are gonna look coming into this NFL season. It's kind of a two-parter of a subject for you guys, because it's kind of going to lean into how I'm going to finish off of my rebuttal of how I think the Chargers are going to look, and I predict success for the Chargers.
What's the window we're looking at for success, though?
I think that this year it's going to be, obviously you're going to have growing pains. You're going to go through the personnel that you have now with all the stuff, all the talent that's left that building. You're kind of getting a new identity. It's a whole brand new from scratch with a young, talented quarterback that obviously has proved what he can do on the field. Now, obviously, the biggest thing that you're looking at going into the year is all the talent that they did lose. But where you really want to see the Chargers grow, and I do see that happening, is the culture base of what's happening in that building. Harbaugh is going to go in there and kind of change that mentality.
But do you think Harbaugh can connect with the younger generation?
Absolutely. That guy just won a national championship.
Yeah, but with here's the difference. In Michigan, you can just kind of recycle players because they graduate or transfer. So he doesn't rub people the wrong way. You've seen that with Harbaugh at his stops in different places, where San Francisco was cool for a while, and then it wasn't for a bit. Same thing at Stanford. It was cool for a while, then it wasn't for a bit. It's different in the NFL because you're kind of having people for a little bit longer than 3 years.
Well, it depends how much you're paying that person. You have to grow some type of relationship with somebody that your owner, your boss, has invested money in. It's the same thing that you look at with the Broncos and Sean Payton. Hey, we hired you to make that work, and obviously it didn't. But moving on, I really do see that he's going to go in there and he's going to rebuild that culture, try to make it a winning culture. He did say that he's going to their image that they're going to try to put out there is a tough image, that they're going to not be one of those finessing teams. They're going to, be a very strong, tough team. I think that with him saying that, he might be looking into the trenches, probably building on top defense, having a young defense.
That is such a generic thing.
Looking into.
No. I'm not saying you. I'm saying like Harbaugh. It's like, we're gonna be strong. We're gonna be tough. Like,
I think
it's the NFL. Like, do you think there's gonna be like people?
Bro, the Chargers defense hasn't been good in like 5 years.
Yeah, because look who they had as a head coach. That guy was a defensive-minded head coach.
No, but I'm just talking about the general talk of just.
No, of course.
We're gonna win in the trench. Okay, cool. You're gonna have a great offensive line. Just how every other team is shooting to protect their quarterback. Like,
you can make an argument that a lot of teams are more air-rated, heavy loaded on skill positions instead of what's in the middle. A lot of teams like to look at wide receivers or build off of young running backs and then have an athletic quarterback.
That's where the game's going. Based off all the rules, like, you kind of have to do that. Like,
but then when you have that one outlier that all of a sudden becomes a heavy run team that controls the clock and then ends up having a very, very strong defense that allows that the other team has to play to their style.
That's where they might head to, though, because they got Greg Roman from Baltimore, who was basically run-centric in that offense. They did lose Eckler, but they got Gus Edwards, who's a bruising running back. But the thing is, my issue is that but I like that they have that identity in terms of, like, they had the 2 tight ends that they re-signed, or that they signed, Disley and Hayden Hurst, I think it is. And
Cincy.
Those are more run-blocking tight ends than pass-catching tight ends.
Yeah.
So on top of Greg Roman, you had the 2 tight ends to help blocking. It's just a matter of just them drafting offensive side of the ball because they need more weapons. Joshua Palmer didn't really establish himself, wasn't really healthy during the year. I think they just need to draft either offensive line or.
I mean, they're definitely getting
wide receiver.
That Joe Alt or whatever, the kid from Notre Dame who's been.
But other than that, I think they'll be pretty much a balanced team because I think they'll be healthy defensively with what's his name. Bosa was injured, right?
Well,
and even so, what's his name?
Khalil Mack had
Khalil Mack was
resurgence
injured,
year. Like I think we were surprised one podcast. We looked it up. He had like 17 and a half sacks.
But that it goes into having the identity and mastering that identity.
Got Derwin James in the back end too.
You
Best safety in the league.
You want to have that identity. And from looking at Harbaugh's career, that's where he specializes in. I think both Harbaugh brothers are somewhat similar in that aspect. And to have such a young quarterback, to have maybe a culture or a mindset of the identity being that way, protects Justin Herbert's career in the long run. Because obviously Justin Herbert is going to be that franchise quarterback. And that was probably one of Harbaugh's pitches when he was in the interview. Says, hey, look, Justin Herbert is our guy for the next 10 years, or hopefully more after that, whatever, how long his career lasts. But we want his career to end here. And the only way to do that is by protecting him and not relying so much on him. You can look at the Buffalo Bills that they rely too much. But, look what happens when you're too top heavy on just relying on one position, bailing you out of every situation. And that's what happened a lot last year. So I think
it was, like you said, I think it was the way that the team was built. They were enamored with the fact that you had Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, and Quentin Johnson was your third wide receiver. Mm-hmm. And, even though I don't think it was that big of a loss considering where he is in his career right now, but you did have the name of Austin Eckler and all these guys. So it's just it almost becomes like a Madden type thing where you just want to like toss the pigskin around everywhere. Like go route, deep post, all this stuff just because you have that toy in Justin Herbert, but you also have the skill positions that are allowing you to do that. Even though, again, it's not the optimal thing to do. Again, like how do you blow? What was it, 27-3 lead or whatever?
It was the Jags game. Right?
Yeah, like all you have to do is literally just control the game and get decent amount of yards. But when you're so enamored with putting up those, hey, our guy's putting up 350 yards and 5 touchdowns, all the time.
It's having a balanced attack every single time. Like, and we're just looking at the offensive side of the ball, but
like breakfast.
Excuse me,
balanced breakfast.
So agree. But looking at, and that's where I also talking about the second part of my subject is, I had brought it up before in a podcast from before a different recording that there's going to be that one outlier coach that's going to go away from what the game is today. The heavy run, the more physical team that is not built with inside the box, inside the linebacker box or inside the trenches. Because a lot of teams are right now looking at a passing, right? A lot of teams don't look, a lot of teams go heavy passing because, that's where the talent is coming from. But what ends up happening is that you're looking at linebackers that are getting slimmer. Like linebackers now are looking like a safety. When you start if you're oversized inside the trenches, you have a better chance of winning. All those one-on-ones or those tag teams getting to the second level for your running game. So that being said, that's why I'm looking at the Chargers, that they're building something that might be different looking than the rest of the NFL. And the fact that if they have to get away from that image, they have Justin Herbert hey, now we're going to have to throw the ball. Who's throwing the ball for you? Justin Herbert. That's not a bad thing to fall back on. Wanted to get your takes on that.
I think it's easy for them to build the team this way because they have Justin Herbert. When you say anomaly, like teams do certain schemes or anything like that because that's what gives them the best advantage. Like the Dolphins aren't a run-first team, yet they're one of the most efficient run teams.
Mm-hmm.
because of what happens with the pass. And ideally with
the pass opens up the run game.
With the Chargers, they're just going to do it in reverse.
Yeah.
But
that's like the old school.
This is one of those things where I think it's almost out of necessity, not because Harbaugh is the coach. I think it's and this isn't a bad thing because the front office and the coach are on the same page. But you have way too many resources in the sense of 6 players, give or take. You had Derwin James, Khalil Mack, Joey Bosa, Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, Justin Herbert, and then what? Like, I think they have a good tackle, but like
you're talking about as top heavy
in a salary cap league, how much you're doing that. So now you get rid of the 2 wide receivers. In all reality or all actual whatever, Khalil Mack and Joey Bosa are going to be gone after next season, and so you're going to start putting in the resources in different spots because this is what allows you to do that in the sense of we got Jim Harbaugh. We've talked about this in the past, that the idea and the concept of hope. We'll take this 6-11 season now because we know we're setting ourselves up for the future. What they finished last year, 5 or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't accept that because you had those 6 players and you had the expectations. Now it's just like, hey, we know
what we built didn't work out.
Yeah. We didn't do exactly what we wanted to do, and now we're trying to reset. It's not a rebuild, it's a reload. No. But, gotta sneak that in again. But I just think the whole message helps right now with, listen, we got rid of the 2 offensive guys rather than keeping one and getting rid of either Bosa or Mack, because that's what we all thought was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
With those 4 guys, you knew 2 of them had to be cut. I think we're all under the impression that it was going to be Mike Williams and probably Bosa, because Bosa, unfortunately, doesn't really stay that healthy compared to his brother. But it's one of those things where, again, everybody's on the same page right now. It's almost what you want to believe is going to happen as a Chargers fan. And this is going to be weird to say because this team has been awful for so long. But you want them to become like the new Detroit Lions. Where you get that, you might get one more win this season or whatever, different things like that. But on the field, you can see, hey, we're not getting out-coached.
Yeah.
We're not it may be a talent issue because of the exodus that we've had to have, but you can see, again, the concept of hope and having that idea, like we can see the future. Then, okay, now we're going to go from 5 wins to 6 wins to 9 wins and then now, hey, Patrick Mahomes doesn't have Travis Kelce. Can they replace Travis Kelce? They're not going to have Chris Jones for forever. At a high level.
You took my argument.
So it's just one of those things where, yes, Patrick Mahomes, this was his defining achievement where he carried this team. Not he carried, but offensively, he did carry that team. Defensively, they were on another level. But this was his last, speed bump as to hey, he won, but he won with Tyreek Hill and all these weapons. He didn't have the weapons. Now it's like, Travis Kelce is 1 or 2 years away from retirement.
I think one of the most underrated defenses
of all time.
Right?
Because they showed the playoff numbers and how
it's ridiculous.
They were basically comparable to the 2000 Ravens in today's NFL. And you're facing all the top offenses in the Dolphins, the Ravens, the Bills.
Essentially, what you're trying to do with the Chiefs, with the Chargers, is that you gotta at least take one game away from the Chiefs
this year.
They have a tough division to go through, bro.
Excuse me. But moving forward,
Raiders and Broncos, I think they all got
they had an argument. They had the team. They had the personnel this year. It's just unfortunately, I felt that was a failing. That was a failure on the coaching staff to get that talent. Also, too, they did have almost a full year with Keenan Allen. That was probably one of the healthiest years that Keenan Allen's had because he's always dealt with hamstring issues and stuff like that. So, and then you lose Mike Williams again. But
I think to Miguel's point, I think the Raiders are going to be one of the most annoying teams to face. They're not going to be great.
They're going to be a 500 team.
But it's one of those things
They're just a competitive team. Man.
It's not a guarantee.
They finally have a head coach that probably understands them more than any other head coach.
They stayed with the guy. They stayed with the current coach.
I'm pretty sure they stayed. Yeah, they haven't hired anybody else. I'm assuming
they stay with Pierce.
They didn't really announce it. They're just like, yeah, we're just keeping with Antonio Pierce because that's one of those things where the locker room really.
I can't believe Derek Carr is still not there.
I mean, that's what's his name's fault.
Josh McDaniels.
That guy is. Talk about failing upward every single time. Like
he's gonna go back to the Patriots.
He's isn't he in Philadelphia or something? Right?
Oh, I don't know.
Dude, that guy's getting paid right now.
He's like Charlie Weiss all those years ago, where he was getting paid by like Notre Dame, Kansas, and like the Patriots, like all at the same time. He's just sitting at home, like
doing nothing.
Every week, I'm sure he got a different paycheck. It's like who are we getting this week?
No, but just it does intrigue me of them moving forward. It's about the growth going ahead, and I'm very intrigued by it because it's nice to see. It's nice to see an air-rated offense, but I feel that a lot of NFL teams are looking at that, and to see something of somewhat different, I feel that we're going to see a lot of the more run game and a lot of running it up the middle and having Gus Edwards probably it's gonna help him out, but it's gonna be a fun team to watch for the most part because now I really want to see what's their image gonna be moving forward. It's gonna kind of remind me of that Lamar Jackson type of offense that that heavy set. They're gonna probably get a fullback in there. It's just a different look type of offense compared to what they had. It's a drastic difference. They went from having all these weapons to stretch the field to now, let's control the clock. We're going to have 10-minute drives or 8-minute drives going down the field. But yeah, that's basically what I got. I don't know if you want to keep going on that.
All right, so my thing is I really think you really will see how they will be moving forward with this draft. Because any mock draft you look at has them drafting that Joe Altke. I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name correctly.
Offensive line, no matter what.
It's the same kid from Notre Dame every single time.
That or the guy from Alabama, Latham.
I don't think he's going that high because it's either they're going to draft him.
I'm just saying it's one or the other.
And
I'm not saying it's him automatically.
And I don't know like what their second round pick is, but it's going to be offensive. It's going to be the kid from Notre Dame. And then do you get a wide receiver? Because what's his name did not look good last year. Johnson. Like he could not catch a cold. Like he would drop routine balls, and it's not even like he's trying to high point the ball or whatever. It's just literally stick out your hands and catch it, and it's a 30-yard gain.
And he's wearing gloves.
Yeah, like put some stickums on there or something. Like I don't know, but we already have an idea of what this franchise wants to look like. You're going to start seeing the foundation being built with this draft, and like I said, they already have a solid offensive lineman. I can't remember his name, but I know they have a good left tackle. They're going to get this kid, and you have the trenches right there, and you're hoping that Bosa and Khalil Mack stay healthy. But where does that leave you in the division right now? Like,
I mean, look,
can they finish second? And that's not. And I'm not saying that like, oh my god, that's an amazing jump. We got to think about who their competition is, because Denver's going to have what this year? Like they're going to overpay for a quarterback in the draft like crazy. They're going to be the team that I think they're going to be the team that overdrafts J.J. McCarthy. And that is going to be the worst decision that they're going to make.
I mean, it is a Broncos move to get the wrong quarterback. So,
but then there's the whole thing. Oh, we got Sean Payne for this. Like, again, the problem with J.J. McCarthy is like you don't know what's there because of the offense that he ran. Like they're actually joking about it on like the Le Batard show. They're like, what's it called? Because Jim Harbaugh said that J.J. McCarthy is the best quarterback in the draft. So one of the people on there was just like, put your money where your mouth is. Draft J.J. McCarthy. Trade Justin Herbert. Draft J.J. McCarthy. in the first round and select Blake Corum in the second round and just have your Michigan team.
Are you guys ready to do wins losses for the Chargers this year?
Go ahead.
Let's go.
All right. Right off the bat, they will be playing at home against the Ravens. Their brotherly love matchup.
That's a loss.
That's a loss, right?
Even
Guess what?
Second
one. Cincy.
Cincy?
I think they win it.
Wait, is it at Cincy?
Alan says Cincy is
like that matters.
Miguel, the mic's not going to pick up your voice if you're looking up away from it.
Booty.
I'll give the Chargers that.
I give the Chargers that. It is not like I'm not there. I'm not confident, but Cincy has been historically known to be bad in the beginning of the season. So
I just think they're going to be bad. Period.
Denver.
That's a win.
2-1. Then they go to. Then they're playing home the Chiefs.
It's a loss.
It's a loss. 2-2.
That's a win.
Vegas.
That's a
rough one.
Early in the season, I give it to Vegas because everybody's going to be healthy.
So 3-2. Arizona. At Arizona. I think they beat them. 3-3. I have them beating them.
Wait, did you say beat them and they went from 3-2 to 3-3?
Yeah, because they. Oh no, sorry, 2-3.
That's why you brought up Josh Allen. 5 years, 150.
Yeah, I wasn't joking about that. I told that earlier. $88 million guaranteed.
Overpaid.
Atlanta.
Yes. That's a loss.
3-4. Carolina. 4-4.
Yo, Carolina's gonna beat them this year.
Oh God.
If Carolina has more than 3 wins, I'll be surprised.
Yeah. Cleveland.
You want to bet?
That's a good one too, but I give it to Cleveland.
Cleveland's a loss.
Yeah, they're 4-5. Denver, 5-5. KC,
loss.
5-6. Vegas, I think they split Vegas. I think they lose one and they win one.
They have to win one and lose one at Vegas.
So they're 6-6. New England,
win.
It's a win.
7-6. Pittsburgh,
it's a loss.
7-7.
What are you looking at me like that for?
Saints.
Oh my gosh,
that's a loss.
Their defense is good though.
I think Saints is a loss because now you're getting into the latter half of the season, and we're talking about the resources that they've lost. I don't think they're going to be that healthy. I'm not saying the Saints are good, but I think the Saints are going to have more pieces than the Chargers.
I don't know what's up with the Chargers playing everybody in the NFC South. Now it's Tampa Bay.
Tampa takes that.
7-9, and then Tennessee.
Give that to them.
So they finished 8-9.
Oh, better than the Bills.
They might even be better than 8-9. There's a few games there that
I know you're like
they have potential to be better than 8-9.
If they have a good draft, I think they can. Yeah, they can be 8-9.
And plus, you get that new coach. They're gonna play like a little different.
They're gonna buy into his system.
Yeah.
How much does it cost?
It's going to be the line. I think that's a great analogy that you had there, though. I do see that the Chargers will have a Detroit Lions type of year when they got Dan. I don't think it's the first year of Dan. I think it's the second year when they had Dan.
Well, because I think there's more talent on this team.
Yeah, exactly, than what Dan had.
Well, I mean, when we say more talent, we're literally talking about Derwin James on one side and the 2 DNs, which will be gone, and Justin Herbert. Like, it's not like it's an amazing amount of talent, but it is better than what Detroit had.
You're talking about those 4 names you're talking about players that are.
I know, but the problem is, like, I was literally going to go Derwin and Justin because, again, Bosa is going to play 13 games if he's lucky.
Yeah,
and we're really expecting Khalil Mack to play at age 32, 33, like a full season. I
don't think he plays a full season, but I think he'll still be productive.
But again, he had that 6-sack game against Denver. I know he had like 17.5 or whatever. Like, I get that, but
He'll win you a game.
Are we really expecting Khalil Mack to be like that 13, 14 sack guy still? Like, but I think the most important part isn't this year. It's going to be next year because again, like how I'm saying, I think Bosa and Mac are going to be gone. How are you going to build off of that? Because getting to the cornerback is more important than ever because of the way the game is, and those guys don't really grow on trees. And if they do hit free agency, it's for a reason. Like how Miguel was just kind of saying out loud.
That's going to be on the back end of their careers. I mean, if anything, those guys they're leaving to a team that is going to be competing for the Super Bowl.
But what I'm saying for the Chargers though, like how do you build off of that in the sense of like how Miguel was saying, Josh Allen for the Jaguars just got signed for $150 million, $88 million guaranteed. He wasn't healthy in 2019 and 2021 and 2022. He had like 7.5 sacks and like 8.5 sacks. And then the Jaguars said, prove it. Okay, here's 17 sacks. All right, here's 150 million. Like, even these guys who show enough potential, they're getting that type of money.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to kind of find, what was it all those years ago? Like Calais Campbell. You know, hey, I'll still get you 12 sacks for the last like 3, 4, 5 years of my career. Like, those guys are such a premium now that, I mean, Wilkins got $27.5 million, and it's like, is he really worth that money? Like, are the Chargers, again, we're talking about like next year.
Yeah.
Not, like, are you going to pay someone after this initial run with Harbaugh, the first year? Are you really going to dump $30 million into a defensive end?
Not after the situation they have with their cap. Like, I think they're going to be smart. They have to be smarter with their money.
Yeah.
Have to. I mean, essentially, you want every team in any sport to be smart with their money, but you can't. You want to go for the win. You want to go for the championship. You want to go for it all. So you got to spend the money.
You got to win. You got to win at the cheapest possible.
But that's what I'm saying. That's what makes it more interesting. Like,
but then that's how you see the Texans. Like, you see how they go. Like, the route they took. They spend it on draft picks, and now they're spending on free agents, and now look at them. They're possibly a complete team and might go to the Super Bowl next year.
They're really going all in next year. Like,
I'm just saying, like, as an example of like what we're talking about.
No, like, but aside,
that's a great topic to talk about another.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I'll save that piece later. But I mean, like, again, that's the balance that you have to choose. Like,
it's like the Bills. They spent money to get Diggs initially. Didn't do anything with him, and now they have to let him go, and now they possibly could be a worse team than the Chargers, which shouldn't be like that because, hypothetically speaking, you think the Bills are the better team, but on paper, the Bills might be the worst team over the Chargers. So it's like
talent-wise, I mean, you can make that argument.
So it's like,
but also too, you look at the difference between
it's the matter of how these teams are spending
their money. That they're at within like coaching. You got one that the current what they have is already on the back end. And they're probably going to need to hit that reset button soon.
That's what I'm saying. Like, this year's almost a mulligan.
Right.
Hey. Like, you know, like,
whatever happens. Reference.
Yeah,
that's
whatever
cool, I play golf.
Yeah. Whatever happens. Like, whether it's good or bad, everybody's going to be okay with it. It's what happens after. Like Miguel's saying, like, if they do go 8-9, hypothetically, that would be a really good season. All things considered. But when you go 8-9 and you have to make these choices, how do you build off of that? Because, again, like Miguel said, the Texans. Okay, we made the playoffs. Now let's go get Stephon Diggs. Like, that's a lot of resources that you're getting when you don't really need that, to be honest. Like, when you get, what's his name? Tank Dell. And who's the other guy? Was Tank Dell?
Collins.
Who was the one who got, like, the ACL injury or whatever it was? Was it Dell or Collins? One of them
got injured for the year.
Yes. Yeah. So you don't need Diggs. You already have 2 good wide receivers.
Diggs is going to be
So, like, if you're the Chargers, how do you stay on the course while not using the wrong resources? That's the problem. And that's, I think, what's going to be the interesting one. I think they're going to have a good year next year, but it's the years after that are going to be important.
All right. Well, that wraps up this segment. Just want to tell you guys that are listening for the first time, if you see that little like button, you see that subscribe button, just don't press it. smash that like button. Make sure you subscribe to these channels so you get that notification. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode and have a good one.